Ex won't move on. 48M divorced 18 months. In summary, she cheated on me after 14 years of marriage. Affair with married coworker. She admitted it. After a month, just had to leave. I know she was remorseful. Begged and begged me to stay. She did not contest the divorce or my settlement terms. She's continued to be a good mom and our relationship is pretty good. Of course, we both had a hard time. We were both mourning the end of the marriage for quite a while. We just kept doing our thing as single parents. Before the holidays, I started seeing someone. Not serious. More friends. She has a daughter. We recently began talking about introducing each other to our kids. They know nothing about us. So I texted my ex and let her know as a courtesy. She immediately calls and I can tell she's upset. I said that you're seeing other people and I am as well. This was bound to happen. She's now crying. So she screams that she has not seen anyone. Not even one date. Not sure I believe that, said that. She was adamant and now a bit angry. She asked that I not have her spend the night when the kids are there and she's not ready to see her so PLS don't bring her around. Wow, okay. Again, just friends. An hour later she texts me and apologizes. I thanked her. An hour after that she texts that she deserves this. I do not need any vindictive BS cheerleading here. I am still the head of this broken family and still need to lead as a father. What do I need to do here to manage this? My new GF is rock solid and will not allow any toxicity in her life. Neither do I. I am proud of getting the shit show settled down and need some input to keep it that way. Thank you. Update 1. WS life then and now summary of ex-wife's accomplishments during first 13 years of marriage. Raised 2 wonderful kids, earned college degree, beautiful home, great career, loving husband last 3 years. Affair, dumped, divorce, joint custody, small apartment, laid off alone, had some challenges with wife being a little too intrusive in my life. My buddy put this in perspective. BTW, if you read my other posts, she's been leaving me alone. My life isn't great either, but I am finally at peace. Hang in there. Update 2. Mother's Day fiasco. Man, I screwed up. Not in the least intentional. Swear. Screw up number 1, had the kids Saturday and dropped them off for Mother's Day to be with their mom. We've been quarantined for weeks with beaches closed. They're now open. Saturday was beautiful weather. The kids and I spent the day at the beach. Had a blast. I guess that was her big plan for Mother's Day. She never told me her plans and I never really thought about it. Screw up number 2, have a friend of sorts that I have been seeing. Thought I was discreet in building a nice Mother's Day gift basket for her. My kids have never met her. I guess the kids somehow found it. It was in my closet, and thought it was my gift to their mom. Evidently they told her all about it. So ex called to tell me how disappointed she was that we went to the beach. I apologized. At first she was okay, then she thanked me for the gift and couldn't wait to see it. Blurted out, I didn't get you a gift. Got ugly. I feel bad for her. At the same time, when she had the affair, she never once considered how her future may look. Believe me, I had an arsenal of jabs I could have laid into her with, but didn't. Update 3. Divorce. The affair fog is your friend. Just sharing a personal reflection based on what I experienced. Please don't think I was this smart, just more lucky in hindsight, I guess. 48M, 14 years married, BS, 2 years divorced. Discovered the affair, she was remorseful at the same time, never broke contact. After a month, decided to file. She went all in with AP. Painful as hell. Emotionally, I pushed like hell to get the divorce finalized. Just want it out. Sooner it's over, sooner I can start fresh. So in hindsight, I made all the money. She was so absolutely lust-struck. She made the most stupid decisions in our divorce mediation. So disengaged. Flippant. So immersed in the fog. AP seemed well off. Maybe she felt he would take care of her. Didn't grasp what it would cost her to be on her own. What she thought she could earn to even come close to her living standards, and that's with alimony. Couple of years that will be gone. My attorney was dumbfounded. It's already starting. She texted the other night to ask how to take money out of her 401k. Told her no clue, won't touch it until I retire. Oh, AP dumped her a few months post-divorce. Thought I'd mention that. So after reading a lot of posts I thought I'd share. I suppose there's some who are successful in waiting out the affair, somehow reconciling or whatever. I guess that can be a good thing. If you're not heading down the reconciliation road, act fast. Maybe you'll get lucky like me. Update 4. Eminent train wreck, the affair-born marriage. Long read, interesting share on the progression of an affair-born marriage. Ref. Article written by Dr. Pittman. According to the stats provided, only 3 to 5% of affairs actually progress to marriage. While not part of article, would think most of those are likely rushed into during limerence. The article also states 75% of second marriages fail. No mention of third marriages, which is likely higher. The odds of success of an affair-born marriage is just minuscule. My take, and this is not data-based, is that the very small percentage that are defined as successful are actually split. I believe there are successful miserable and successful happy. I think there are a significant portion of people who are successful miserable because they trash so much, and are so hard-headed, they make it work to save face and not admit what would be their biggest life's failure. So they choose live in a shitty second marriage. I further submit that the little, bitty, tiny percent that are successful happy, truly both had a toxic, dysfunctional or abusive marriage they exited. Even then, happy is likely defined as better than. The reasoning, see below, article excerpt. Dr. Pittman's 9 defects in the dynamics of affairs that become marriages chart the trajectory of love as it arcs from a forbidden romance to an established marriage to a marital breakup. These 9 defects include, while still married to others, the affair partners become immersed in stimulating unreality, but the second marriage illuminates reality. Only after their marriage did the divorce become real enough to see that it was a horrible mistake. They were so caught up in the infatuation that they never got around to figuring out if what they were doing was sane. The cheaters who wrecked a family, or two, and inflicted much pain on innocent people may feel no or little guilt during the affair but become overwhelmed with guilt after they marry. Divorces drain both financially and emotionally. After affair partners marry, the new couple may feel a disparity in what had to be sacrificed to bring them together. Unfaithful couples who marry may believe that the life after the marriage will be as good as life during the affair, and that, the greater the sacrifices, the greater the expectations for the new marriage. In short, more people enjoy the battles involved in wrecking and escaping marriages, the less they are likely to enjoy the business as usual of the new marriage. The affair partners, who were unfaithful, develop a distrust of marriage, and for the affair partner who is now a spouse. A marriage that begins on an untruth cannot have a trusting foundation. During the affair and the divorce, the unfaithful couple isolates and insulate themselves, and they retreat to a private little world protected from the devastation that they have created, safe from anyone who tries to pull them apart. In this regime, memories or even mention of the betrayed spouse can be difficult. Later, the now married couple may long to reconnect with these people. However, everyone involved is hurt by the betrayal and not as forgiving as they have expected. They often find that they only have each other, and that can be very lonely. When the romance fades, as it does in most marriages, romantics do not understand that this is part of the growth of the marriage, and they do not know how to nurture a deeper, more meaningful relationship. Rather, they believe that they have just fallen out of love. During the affair and the divorce, the affair couple convinces each other that the defective marriage is the fault of the betrayed spouse. To acknowledge otherwise, now that the remarriage has taken place, seems a betrayal of the rescue fantasies that fed the affair in the first place. The absence of a shared history that nurtures a comforting familiarity to relationships that begin earlier in life makes talking about the past difficult. An affair that wrecked a first marriage makes it painful and embarrassing for both spouses to discuss the past because it may promote jealousy and insecurity. Affair partners who marry do not want to hear the good qualities of the previous marriage and spouses, nor about any good times the former partners had. Trying to start over can be lonely and disheartening. Update 5, that moment, that look, that gift. Haven't posted in a while, but thought I'd share something about my situation, the one gift my ex-WS left me that has helped me many times. A little background. Divorced 2.5 years after finding out of my wife's affair. I am in constant contact with her as we co-parent. Amicable and no real emotions left for her. I've moved on and life is good now. Things have not been good for her, to put it mildly. Nothing major other than things here and there. Things I find out about and things that tend to concern me, for my kids' sake. I am a helper and fixer by nature. I guess that's why I stay connected to this sub. So when I find out something is going bad for her, my first instinct is to help. Of course I don't, but just saying. What I always reflect back on is this look she gave me during our final mediation session. Mind you, I was at an all-time low at this point in my life. This look is hard to describe. Her eyes just looked empty, unholy, evil, and at the same time her mouth was clenched as if to be fighting off a smile. It was as if she was enjoying my pain. Man, that hurt. It's still very vivid in my mind. So when I get in these situations where I think about wanting to help for that split second, my mind jumps back to that moment in the attorney's office. I do not feel vindicated or get joy out of her struggles. It's more a reassurance. I know I am in the right place in my life, doing the right things. I often wonder if she did not give me that look, or was remorseful looking, or if her eyes were full of doubt, how things may be different. So in that context, I feel like she gave me a lifetime gift. Am I crazy? Does anyone else have a similar point in time where they reflect to find reassurance and guidance? Update 6, good guys and gals always win. Have faith. The infidelity and affair is now just a tiny dot in the rearview mirror. Sure, the memories are haunting and no question the lowest point in my life. I will never forget being nauseated for days at a time, confusion, stress never felt before, sleepless nights, suicidal thoughts, on and on. Thinking about the future was near impossible. Making it through each day was daunting. Been there. You are in a club no one want to be in. It sucks. I am now close to 3 years removed from that mess. Without a doubt, this life I have lived is nothing close to what I had dreamed. At the same time, by some miracle, I have landed on solid ground. My employer supported me through the tough times. I am forever grateful and am now more dedicated than ever. My career and performance is excelling. Somehow, I met the most amazing girlfriend. I never imagined having the connection I cherished with my ex-wife and never imagined building something remotely close after the damage caused by the affair. Miraculously, I achieved so much more. My values have changed. This whole experience has changed how I view others and myself. I now know true friendship and foster that with a select few. I needed my kids and they needed me. My relationship with them has grown exponentially these past couple of years. They are in a good place. That's all that kept me going. I am humbled. I do not why or how I am so blessed. I know this, I am not special, wealthy or important. I just did my best to be a good person. Hang in there. Brighter days are ahead. My only advice to share is to be a good person and have confidence that the good guys always win. As I wrote, we are in a club where joining comes at a painful price. Any of you need anything, reach out. You're not alone. Update 7, answer to why people cheat. Sharing a point of view, everything we possess in life has value. Whether is material objects, friendships, relationships, careers, freedom, security, even ourselves. We all place value on what we have. How and what we value is complex. We are all unique, awash with life experiences, environments, DNA, you name it. Because of this, we all value differently, and how and what we value changes over time. Sometimes we can control the value of what we have, sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can make things more valuable. Sometimes, through neglect, we can make things less valuable. Sometimes the value is real and connected, sometimes it perceived. Value is always relative, based on options and circumstances. We value in the present and we value future potential. When it comes to cheating and affairs, the harsh reality is that WS valued the affair more than the marriage. It's that simple. Perhaps WS made an error in perception and placed extreme value on the affair due to limerence and fantasy. Perhaps they didn't think and appreciate what they had in the marriage and undervalued or understood love. Maybe that's why there's regret. Maybe the value they placed was real. Maybe they didn't think about future value. When I reflect on my personal situation, I believe my ex took our relationship for granted. We never had problems and I do believe she valued what we had. I also think she overvalued her AP and the high that the affair gave her. Update 8, well, fell off my barstool last night. Figuratively, of course. Catching up with a few friends and ran into one of my ex's estranged friends. This woman was pretty lit and asked about X, then proceeded to tell me what an F up my ex was. Okay, whatever. She then proceeded to volunteer how effed up that whole situation went down. Ears up. Of course I asked what she meant. She proceeded to unload a whole saga, none of which I knew. Evidently my ex blew a huge chunk of the money she received during the divorce settlement by investing in AP's business. I guess the business was very distressed and the investment just bought time before it eventually went under. He then was going to move to another state and asked her to come. Evidently she agreed, then he reneged and dumped her. Guess he thought she wouldn't leave the kids. Nice to hear she was going to bail on her kids as well. Anyway, just when I thought I had a clear picture of everything, this pops up. Pretty sure this happened. I knew her spending habits weren't consistent with her income and I knew she'd burn through her settlement. Just happened too quick. This explains it. My GF asked me if this upset me hearing that she did that. The kids' piece, yes. Everything else. Her money, her choice. If anything, makes me not feel bad about her financial struggles. 49M, divorced 3 years. Update 9, why I never reconciled. Reconciliation was off the table for me. It wasn't that I didn't think about it. Of course my kids, the financial impact, etc. were all factors. It all came down to accepting the reality of a new and different marriage or marital relationship. I arrived at my decision through really understanding what a post-affair relationship would look like. I had to accept the following. First, she cost me, and her, the ability to have a pure marriage. Wasn't like we were married as virgins. It was about the purity of the marriage. I knew our relationship could potentially improve as a result of this, and things could even be better. She could be better. Counseling could help. Problem is, you just can't ever get it back when it comes to purity. Everything felt like it would be fake. Second, I would need to accept that my perspective of her would forever be changed. I knew we could restore the love, intimacy and the connection, and she could potentially be a great partner. I don't know that I could ever view her as a wife again. It's simply a strange possessive feeling I had, when it came to her, that was gone. Like she was mine, and now she's not. Third, I had feared that while I may grow to love her again, there will always be something missing in that love. I imagined how I felt about her, through reconciliation, would be very similar to how a widower would feel after losing their spouse and remarrying. A widower may love their new partner, her through reconciliation, but not in the same way they loved their deceased spouse, her before the affair. So when I processed all of this, I realized that I had one life to live. I wanted a pure marriage, I wanted a wife, and I wanted to give her all of me. I knew that was impossible by staying. Not trying to sway anyone, just sharing my perspective that led to my decision. We are all different with different scenarios. Maybe this helps with your processing. Update 10. Difference between affair sex and marriage sex. I have read a lot of posts on comparing affair sex and marriage sex. Wanted to share, in probably an oversimplistic way, the difference. Affair sex versus marriage sex, newness versus closeness, dopamine versus oxytocin. Exciting versus comforting. Unsustainable versus sustainable. The best way I can describe this is comparing skydiving to holding a newborn. Affair sex is like skydiving. The first time it's new and exhilarating. Marriage sex is like holding your newborn child. It's the feeling of connection, comfort and warmth. It's closeness. Like skydiving, affair sex releases dopamine. It's a high from excitement. Now here's the catch. All you need to release dopamine is some positive excitement. It's easy. Like holding a newborn, marital sex releases oxytocin. It's a feeling of warmth and comfort. Oxytocin is a little more challenging. Oxytocin requires a feeling of security and safety to release. Our bodies naturally release oxytocin with a newborn because instinctually there are no safety alarms. Otherwise, humans fear everything. So with a mate, the safety alarms need to be shut down. This is done over time through connection and intimacy. Ideally, when we enter a new relationship, affair aside, the dopamine starts flowing. As the relationship progresses, the dopamine wanes. Now hopefully, the relationship grows and the dopamine is replaced, through intimacy and closeness, with oxytocin. Here's the really cool part. Our bodies actually crave the comfort generated by the oxytocin more than the dopamine. This is the case if the oxytocin is being released. Absent either is a feeling of emptiness. Now when people feel this emptiness, and need to feel alive, they chase the quick fix. Yep, dopamine. What most who have had experience with sex and relationships understand is excitement of affair or ONS sex wanes as well. Whether it's with one partner or multiple partners, over time the dopamine releases subside. This is simply science in our bodies. So like the skydiving example, the fifth or sixth time is far less exhilarating than the first. Oxytocin on the other hand, is sustainable and releases actually increase over time. So just like the newborn example, over time the bond and closeness increases. Thought I'd share this to help those BS who are trying to process regardless of the outcome of their relationship. Hopefully you can see how this plays into many common themes on this sub. Once a cheater, always a cheater, or was affair sex better? Or I can't be intimate, etc. If not, let's dialogue. Anyway, hope this was worth a quick read. Update 11. Prevalence of the modern walk-away wife. This is a cut through the BS post about walk-away wife syndrome. There's a harsh reality to this and it needs to surface. That's simple. All starts with boredom. Period. Many cases these women have everything. One could even argue too much. There's nothing wrong with being bored. It's how they address the boredom. Instead of finding purpose, activities, friends, etc., modern women retreat to social media and fantasies. The combination leads to painting a picture in their heads of some idealistic life. Social media is wrought with damaged divorced women that perpetuate single strong female fantasy. These damaged women ruin their lives, can't accept responsibility, and refuse to admit they are miserable. They post content, get likes and feel justified. It's like recruiting into a cult. They feed off each other. Trust me, if your wife is bored, she's consuming all this stuff. She's envisioning a fantasy which does not include you or marriage. Rationalizing the irrational. These WAs are now in a mental tug of war. They have good lives, they are bored, but now they have this fantasy that excites them. Rather than taking accountably and addressing the boredom, they cling to the fantasy. They convince themselves the marriage is the problem. They create a narrative that their marriage is not good. Naturally, his means it's the husband. They start inventorying everything bad about you and the marriage. They then connect these thoughts through toxic social media. TikTok babe had the same issues as me, left and is now fulfilled. Once they inventory all the bad about their marriage, they start confiding in friends, relatives, Reddit, etc. They paint an overly biased portrayal of everything. Words flung around: abuse, narcissist, controlling, etc. Pity party ensues. Divorce chants from the bleachers. It finally culminates into the bomb drop. Out of the blue, it strikes. Edit, take notice the word unhappy never surfaced in the post. That is a ruse. Trust me, if they were unhappy you see it and feel it. Boredom is what differentiates a walk-away wife.